Podcasts. We're going to talk about applying the lessons you see with a real life story about someone who's going to win the early retirement game.
All right, welcome to this week's Stories, Resources, and Ideas, powered by Ideas by Mike. I am Mark Conway, and I am joined with probably one of the busiest people I know, and it's a good thing, Mr. Mike Milligan. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, Mark. You know that we are fairly busy. There's a lot going on in the world right now, but there's also a lot going on personally with as we head into spring, and just a lot of great things that are happening on the personal side and within and with what I've got going on professionally too. So you're right, we are busy. You've been busy recently too?
I am. I've been a little here, a little there. It feels like I'm bouncing like a ping pong ball, and I think I'm about as back and forth as the weather we've been experiencing lately.
It's been crazy, hasn't it?
It really has. Now it's cold again.
It is. It is. It'll warm up. That's the great thing about living where we live is, if you don't like the weather today, wait a couple days. It's going to be great. And that's whether you like hot weather or cold weather, rainy weather or, sunny weather. So it's great. So, Mark, we often see in life just lessons all around us. A lot of times we just don't take the time to really let those lessons we're seeing in our daily life come in and take action on. I mean, I'm sure in all of your time in the restaurant business and in the food world, you've seen a lot of failures and a lot of successes, and you've probably slapped yourself over the head sometimes with some of those failures, thinking, man, if they would have just looked up, they would have seen that coming.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just like with any business, in the restaurant world or otherwise, there are signs, there are things, there are lessons that you learn along the way. And sometimes it was just one of those moments, like you said, you slap yourself in the forehead and go, how many times do you have to learn to go through this lesson before you learn?
Yeah, we get a chance to talk to, hundreds of people per month in our daily conversation, our daily talks about what we're doing with finances. And we run into often people who just get it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so people who get it are people who have taken the time people who take the time to look at numbers, internalize them, and just kind of move forward with life. And so, have you ever had times where your computer just goes crazy on you?
Yep, many times.
And our people are hearing that right now, right?
Yeah.
So, Computer's just going crazy. So apparently my computer is not taking the lessons where I'm trying to delete it. So anyway, we'll keep going. And so when you look at simple math and you apply a long period of time to an interest crediting strategy, if you get 8% return over 40 years, it helps you with what your ending balances are going to be. So I ran into Sarah, and she's applying the lessons that she's seeing every day. Part of those lessons are she has for 20 years saw mom and dad who constantly lived beneath their means. Now, Sarah didn't know why they didn't have crazy vacations to Europe and all that. She just didn't know that until her parents explained it to her when she was heading off to college. Her parents explained to her that they wanted to pass forward to her a life that was better than they could ever live. And that life was only accomplished from sacrificing and saving. And so Sarah goes off to a very big public college in Virginia, where we are, that gets one of the best educations around, but immediately says that she's going to take some lessons that she's learned from her parents and start applying that to her financial life. And so I run into Sarah about 2 months ago, And she reveals to me that in the first few minutes that she's 31 years old, that she has this desire to retire early, but doesn't know if it's something she's going to be able to accomplish because she doesn't feel like she can get ahead fast enough. And so we go into a few details. Okay, Sarah, why do you want to retire early? Well, I want to be able to travel. I want to be able to travel in my 50s and 60s. I don't want to be old and not be able to enjoy life because my health is deteriorated. I want to be able to travel. Okay, that's a great reason. Why else do you want to retire early? Well, I on top of the traveling, I just want to be able to decompress from work and start being creative in what I do. She's got a great job, don't get me wrong, but she wants to be creative in things she does later on, and she understands sometimes creativity doesn't come with wealth. Creative people in general, just as a great majority of, they struggle, but they get their wealth comes from being creative and putting ideas out and the display of their work in art, or it's a different mindset. She said, I want to be creative later in life. And so we're going through the process, and I get to the point, I was like, Sarah, so let's talk about what you have right now. And she says, I have she's 31 years old, and she says, I have $320,000 at Fidelity. And I was like, okay. I was like, in my retirement plan at work, I have $160,000. It's like, okay.
Wow.
She's like, I own a condo. And I was like, okay. I was like, what's your mortgage on that? She goes, no, I own the condo. And that condo is worth $240,000. And she said, by the way, I have $70,000 sitting in my checking account at the bank. And I was like, wow. I'm like, you're 31 years old. I said, how in the world did you get, that much money at Fidelity, that much money in your retirement account? She said, well, Mike, when I got out of college at 22, I started putting as much as I could in my 401k at work. And then I just started looking around for investment opportunities in my Fidelity account. She said, yes, I was putting $1,500 away per month. If you do $1,500 per month, that's $18,000 a year. You put that out over 10 years, that's $180,000. She had almost double that at Fidelity. And I said, well, what were you investing in? And she said, it was easy. I would just sit back and I would listen to what people were getting excited about. And I said, okay, like what? And she said, well, in 2019, I bought 10 shares of Tesla. 10 shares of Tesla is not that big of a deal until you realize that Tesla went from, $600 to $3,000 per share. She bought 10 shares of them. She said, I bought some shares of Amazon. She said, but what I also did is when times got tough in the market, I just kept putting money in. And I said, well, Sarah, I said, Sarah, what happens when you need something or you want something? And she says, well, if I can afford it, if I want something and I afford it, I'll do it. She goes, so, I don't necessarily buy a lot of drinks out. She goes, I'm a single woman. And if I want to go out and have a good time, that's normally a free night for me because guys will buy me drinks every day. I mean, I was like, wow, what a good concept. Right?
Wow.
But when it comes to it, she's got, she's 31 years old and she's got $500,000. There's a concept out there that most people don't know. It's called the rule of 72. Have you ever heard of that before, Mark?
I have not.
Yeah. It's a resource that many people, it's a simple math equation, but it's just a resource many people don't know. And it's, if you take the number 72 and divide it by the interest you earn or the growth of your portfolio, either one of those. So 72, let's say you get S&P returns of 8%, just 8% returns on your money. That means every 9 years, so 72 divided by 8, Every 9 years, your money will double. Your money will double. She's 31 years old. And so she will continue to save, don't get me wrong. But if she doesn't, if she just stops savings right now, she's got $500,000 at 31 years old. At 40 years old, that'll be $1 million with 8% return. And then at 49, that'll be $2 million. And so I asked her, what number would you like to be able to retire early on? And she said, if I had $2 million, I think I could live off the interest on that for the rest of my life. Just getting $60,000 to $80,000 of interest. And I said, well, Sarah, you're on your way. And Sarah was looking outside to apply the lessons that she saw from her parents about how to save and be diligent. She was looking around and just seeing what people were getting really excited about from an investment standpoint and just buying little bits of it. But she also had she has a very conservative slant to her also. When she gets what she wants out of a return, she'll stop. And so like when that Tesla got to a point where it doubled in price, now she missed out on a lot of return, don't get me wrong. I told you that Tesla went from 600 to 3,000, but she didn't see all that. When Tesla went from 600 to 1,200, she took her money out of Tesla and just waited for the next opportunity. Now, she missed the opportunity to have more money down the road, but I say she's probably further ahead because when she took her money out, she just put it in the S&P 500, something very basic, an index fund. But here's the key, is she has her parameters. She learned from her parents. She looks to apply lessons that she's learning from other people, and then she has a discipline about what she wants to do. My guess and my estimation with Sarah, when I explained the Rule of 72 to her, she said, wow, I'm going to get there. And I said, but Sarah, does that mean you're going to stop saving? And she said, no. She goes, I'm going to keep saving. And so I did an estimation for her based off what she saves now, and I think at the age of 40, she's going to have about $2.5 million.
Wow.
So she wanted to retire early, right? She wanted to retire early. She wanted to be able to put aside the same amount of money she did throughout her 20s, and then she wants to use the same philosophy. Now, if she falls a little short there and she only gets to $2 million at 40, that girl's going to have an amazing opportunity at that age to make a decision. She said, I want $2 million to retire. I want to be able to enjoy my 50s and 60s by traveling, but also being creative. But she's going to get to the number that she estimates at 40. Okay? By applying the lessons she wants, she's going to have this period of her life where she's really super healthy. I mean, I'm in my 40s, and I think I'm moving along pretty well in life, right? I think I still have my wits about me. I have my physical capabilities. But she's going to have the ability to kind of walk away and say, I'm done working. I can just live off the interest, and I can get creative with what I want to do for the rest of my life. And all she did, Mark, was just look around and applied lessons. Now, most people will say, well, how can I do that? I'm 40 years old now. I don't want to, I'm never going to be where she is. Well, it's true. They say wisdom is wasted on the old. You've heard that saying before. Yep. This girl has been very wise in her early times. And if we could go back and do anything in our life again over, one of the things, then we would make different choices in life. And one of them would be we'd probably save money a little bit different. She got that head started in life. She's going to retire very wealthy. And if she elects to keep working until she's 60 or 70, she's going to have generational wealth far beyond what she would have, what her family thought she would have. So her parents' dreams of originally teaching her how to, or showing her daily lessons on how to save money, and then explaining that to her while she was in college, is going to produce what their vision was. See, Sarah's vision wasn't put in place by Sarah. It was put in place by her parents. So there's a lot of lessons from Sarah's story. You can get where you want to if you're disciplined, have a plan, and apply the lessons you see. But really, a lot of those lessons that you're seeing are lessons that other people are putting into it. We just have to slow down, stop, and go.
I mean, that's really true because there are so many roadmaps already out there. There are people that are successful in life that are willing to share how they became successful. You just have to listen and apply.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly it. And we don't we are in my everyday business as a financial planner, I hear so many stories, and our job is just really to help people find resources that turns ideas into money. That's what we do. But a lot of times we don't get to people when they're 20 years old.
Right.
We're getting to come in and taking a subset of people's already accumulated assets and their stories. And then, we kind of shape shift it a little bit. We edit it. We edit the story. Mm-hmm. And then we show them how to move forward with it going forward. But the good news is if people hear what we're saying on this podcast, they then realize that they could stop, look for stories outside or look for lessons outside that they can apply themselves, or better yet, cast a vision on a younger generation about what they can do with their money. Cast the vision out. I mean, we're so interested in taking our kids and having magical trips and magical vacations and hopefully instilling discipline in them. But hopefully one of the things that we can do with the next generation coming up is to say, you need to take care of yourself financially, live within your means, and then hopefully be like Sarah one day, where you have the option to retire early and then move on to what things that matter most to you. And that's being creative and traveling.
I mean, that's a huge lesson learned. And I think if people take that, really think about what this 31-year-old has been able to do in a short amount of time. I mean, we're not talking about 30 years of building. She's done this in like 10 years by just making smart moves, paying attention, being awake, and having your eyes open to what is possible out there. I mean, it's a phenomenal story to share.
Yeah. And, let's not get wrong. She's the exception to the story. Let's be perfectly honest. She's an exception to the story. But everybody can take part of what she's done and apply it in their life. And, where she saved 40% of her income to retirement, most people can't afford to do that unless you make that decision early on. But we can start making those decisions in life now where we're going to start getting to that point. And then just let time and then growth take care of the rest.
And if you haven't done so already, everyone, take a minute, pull out your phone, go on Instagram, and look up Ideas by Mike. You'll find a lot more information, a lot more tidbits, different stories that come along, and motivational quotes to help you on your journey. And also, if you send a message to Ideas by Mike on Instagram, it's Mike and the team that are actually answering those messages, and you can reach out that way, or even by the website at meetwithmikemilligan.com. That's meetwithmikemilligan.com. And I'm telling you, that's who's answering. Who you're listening to today, Mike and his team are there. They're there to help you figure out your roadmap to success with your future. That was a great, timely podcast to put out there, Mike.
Absolutely, Mark. Look forward to keep putting this out for others in the future, buddy.
All right, you know where to find us. This has been Stories, Resources, and Ideas. And remember, caring is sharing, because your family and friends need to hear this information too. We'll talk to you next week.